So what do you do if the ATF comes knocking at your door? Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm Florida trial attorney and former police officer Patrick McGee, and I try to bring you news and information on firearms and the Second Amendment from around the world, as well as show you some of the guns that I have. In this case, we're talking about ATF agents going to the door of a man in Delaware. I'm sure you've seen the video by now. I got a caption up in the top here. So what do? The ATF or the AFT or any other police agent comes to your door and wants to talk to you. What do you do? And this is something I have a lot of experience in. I've been called by clients when the police are at their door wanting to search their house or their car or wanting information about a crime. They call me on the phone several times. I've been able to run over there on the scene and resolve the situation. When law enforcement shows up like this, they're initiating a consensual encounter. They don't have a warrant. They want to talk to you. So they are going to try to engage you in conversation, and as long as you are amenable to that conversation, you consent to that conversation, they will continue talking to you. You're at home. In this case, the man's at home. He's in his house. They're trying to be non-authoritative as possible under the circumstances. I guess they're trying to be non-intimidating, although when two ATF agents and a trooper show up at your house and you don't have regular contact with law enforcement, that can be a little intimidating in itself. But they're being very professional, very pleasurable, trying to get this man to speak to them. When they show up like this and you continue to talk to them, anything that you say to them can be used. For example, if this guy comes up to the door, simply explains who he is and why he's there, and you start blurting stuff out to them, all that stuff is admissible. Anything in this conversation, as long as it's non-custodial, is admissible. Once it becomes a custodial interrogation and they're eliciting incriminating information out of you, they must read you Miranda. But under these circumstances and through this whole video, this is not a Miranda situation. This is not a custodial interrogation. So you have two options in this particular case. You could do as this man did and continue to speak with them, and apparently they resolved it and everything was fine. Or you can invoke your rights. So how do you invoke your rights to counsel in this particular case? You have to tell law enforcement explicitly that you want a lawyer. So under this circumstances, I would say something like, guys, this is all new to me. I'm kind of scared. It's a little intimidating. I would just like to speak to my lawyer. I'm going to go call him now. Close your door and go call your lawyer. I'll tell you one thing, having been a police officer, having initiated these types of encounters, there are some officers, not all of them, but some of them, if you get into a pissing match with them and get confrontational, even though you are correct and you don't have to speak to them, they will make a project out of you. They will look for things to come and call on you about, let's say. So you always have to be careful. My advice is always do not speak to the police. Whenever they show up at your door, whenever you encounter them on the road, on the streets, any place, do not speak to them. Always invoke your right to counsel and make that invocation of the right very, very clear and explicit. These guys are professionals. Once you invoke your rights, they know what to do. And, get a hold of your attorney and speak to them and let the attorney decide the next steps to take. I've seen plenty of people. I've taken plenty of statements. I've taken plenty of sworn statements, confessions, the whole 9 yards. In my time, almost 20 years as a law enforcement officer in Miami, Florida, and if you add reserve time to that, it's more than 20 years. But in all my time and all my investigations, I have never seen anyone talk themselves out of handcuffs, but I've seen a whole lot of people talk themselves into handcuff. So be careful, be very aware. Now there are some people that will say, hey, if you have nothing to hide, then you should go ahead and talk to them. That can be dangerous advice because you never know what law enforcement knows when they come calling on you. It could be a mistaken identity. It could be someone with the same name and similar looks or whatever that they're seeking, and you fit that description, or they believe you're that person, and they're talking to you about something that you really don't know about, and you say something that arouses their investigatory radar, you could be in for some trouble or some at least very difficult situation ahead. So my advice is never speak to law enforcement unless you have the consultation of an attorney. Thank you for visiting us here today on Lawyered Up. I look forward to seeing you again. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe and share. Beat the YouTube algorithm. And if you have any questions about police encounters, be sure to let me know.